Hello. It has been some time now, quite a while since I have made a video, and boy, do I have some content for you. So I remade one of my FMVs, which, if you don't know what that is, it is a fan music video for this drama called My Lethal Man. Yes, I know. It's a 2023 Chinese drama, in case you were wondering, which means I had to rewatch most of the show because it's been 2 years since it's came out. And frankly, I have thoughts, okay? First, do fan Jishin's eyes get paid as a separate acting entity for real? They are their own character at this point. Second, are his facial expressions insured? Because I feel like they should be. Like, no one can convince me someone has not actually been murked by his glare. Like, what glare? This glare. Like, look at that condescension, okay? This man could stomp you, and what could you say? Except, again, daddy. First, suspend your disbelief. Leave it at the door because it does not belong here. We start the story off with our two main players, Zhang Xingyan and Shen Manning. You are asking yourself right now, wow, don't they look similar? You are correct. They are right here, if you can read that, doppelgangers. Yes, you are correct. Congratulations. You think cool, supernatural elements, but you would be wrong. Yes, the only supernatural thing about this plot is the inhuman amount of mental gymnastics you have to do to believe it. Oh, and in case it wasn't already obvious, this will contain major spoilers. Just got to get that out of the way. You know, you never know. Someone's going to get aggro at me because I said major plot spoilers. I'm going to be like, you didn't warn me. All right. Our male lead, Yashi Cha. I'm doing my best here, okay? I don't know Mandarin. I don't speak Mandarin. Half of the opinions on here is just like my best guess when they said the name in the show. Like, I think this is what the tone is. As you can see, I flubbed hers and I had to fix them after I printed it, okay? Our male lead is Yashi Cha, played by Fan Jishin. A common misconception I see is people expecting him to act like a hero. He is not. He is at worst a villain and at best an anti-hero, depending on where you are in the story. I mean, this is his revenge plot after all. He always has two people in tow, Fasha, the genius hacker, and Yuan Shui, our resident strongman, both recruited by Yashi Cha to help him. I say recruited because it's not like he hired them. Like, he genuinely helped them in the past and now they are loyal to him. They are his colleagues, but also they're kind of like unconventional friends, I feel like. Our story starts with Zhuang Xinyan getting kidnapped. Except you are correct. It is not. It is her doppelganger, Shen Manning. In an effort to rectify the mistake, our lovely, lovely girl, Zhuang Xinyan, saves Shen Manning, but they are, yes, caught in a car chase. Zhuang Xinyan gives Shen Manning her phone passcode and asks her to call Ya Xinghang. That is right. But in that moment, they get hit by a freight truck. Yashi Cha, who was on the phone at the time, obviously hears the accident. Him and his colleagues, Fasha and Yuan Shui, rush to the accident scene. It's not good, guys. It's rough. It's really, the car rolls, okay? It is absolutely destroyed. So, unfortunately, despite doctors' best efforts, Zhuang Xinyan, who shielded He Manning, with her body dies from her injuries. Shen Manning also has permanent eye damage unless she receives a cornea transplant from Zhuang Xinyan. So Yang Xincha, the only person who can make this decision, agrees to the cornea transplant. This is important to remember for later. Leave that in the back of your mind. So Shen Manning wakes up in the hospital, confused, disoriented. What is going on? Yang Xincha is there. He introduces himself as her fiance. What? But she is Shen Manning. She looks at the name on her hospital bed, and what does it say? Zhuang Xinyan. Yes. But how? How can this be? I mean, obviously, there has been a mistake, and Yang Xincha will fix it once he realizes she is Shen Manning and not Zhuang Xinyan. Right? Right? Wrong. Okay? Wrong. Why? Because the only thing Yang Xincha cares about is getting back control of La Haixing for Zhuang Xinyan, the sole and rightful heir to the company. There it is, right down here at the bottom. La Haixing. It just sounds so nice. It's just such a nice name. Anyways, it's in episode 2. We find out that when Zhuang Xinyan was a child, her parents were in a terrible hit and run car accident overseas. Her father, dead. Her mother, missing. Her grandfather sends her away to live abroad. As Fan Xia is explaining this, he mentions she conceals her identity, but doesn't say why. A month ago, the company experienced a severe debt crisis, and her grandfather had a heart attack from the stress, and he is now in a coma. Here we have Zhuang Xinyan's mother, Zhuang Meishuan. I don't know her opinion, so she's just going to have, unfortunately, my terrible English pronunciation. And Zhuang Xinyan's father, whose name I don't even know. It's like Li Yan or something like that. Sorry, Dad, Zhuang Xinyan's dad. Anyways, moving on. This is grandfather, who is affectionately known as Wai Gong. He is the chairman of La Haixing and the grandfather of Zhuang Xinyan. Heart attack, coma, terrible. The company and the house of Zhuang is thrown into absolute chaos, which is why Zhuang Xinyan is gonna come back to China to get the 40% shares her mother left her and take over La Haixing. But we know Zhuang Xinyan, she died. I can't cover her face. She's so pretty, but there you go. Murked. Well, not murked, but she died in a car accident. So Yang Xincha gaslights, bullies, and guilts Shen Manning into agreeing to become Zhuang Xinyan. So this is what I mean about him seeming more like a villain sometimes, especially at the beginning. He treats Shen Manning not as a person, but as a tool that he needs at any and all costs now that Zhuang Xinyan is dead. We don't know his motivations. We are only told from his own mouth that he is Zhuang Xinyan's fiance. Is he really? Is he telling the truth? He really doesn't seem okay. Like, on the inside, look at him. This right here somewhere. This expression is, my fiance just died and I had to give a stranger her eyes so I can carry out the revenge plot I've been planning for the past 10 years. So I heard a bunch of people say that it's unrealistic how Shen Manning agrees to help Yang Xincha. And that's a fair point, okay? I would argue that she doesn't actually agree to help him. Yang Xincha is a stranger. For all she knows, if she says no, he could hurt her. You saw the glare, okay? If that was looking at you, run for your life. I would be terrified. She also is experiencing a lot of survivor's guilt, especially in the first half of the series. So I feel like he really leans into that survivor's guilt and uses it to manipulate her, because Zhang Xinyan not only literally shielded her with her body to protect her from the impact, but also she's got her eyes, guys. She would be blind if Zhang Xinyan did not give her eyes, her corneas. It's a cornea. Just specifically, in case you were wondering about that science fact. In my opinion, she agrees solely out of fear and coercion. And honestly, it's pretty obvious in all of her actions throughout episodes 2 and 3. Like, our girl is fucking stressed. Her first task as Zhang Xian is to show her face at a board meeting. It's, I think, a shareholders meeting. And just like this fucking smile. How is anyone not absolutely terrified of this man? Okay. And honestly, every misstep she fucks up, he's fucking angry. But I feel like it's not just anger. I feel like there is also a desperation. He has been plotting this. Whatever he's been plotting, it has been a while. Like, it's been a long time coming, okay? Like, he is very single-minded here because it's so absolutely imperative that she passes as Zhang Xiyan. He's also fucking stressed, okay? So we have two main characters who are just fucking stressed out of their mind, okay? She obviously externalizes that stress, and Yang Shi-cha, he internalizes that stress. And it shows up in the fucking terrifying smiles like that. Honestly, we're left with more questions at the end of episode 2 and beginning of episode 3, because she makes a mistake and he obviously lashes out because he is a hurt boy and he is fucking stressed. Does that make it right? No, of course not. It does not make it right. Remember what I said. Villain, okay? Villain. But what he says, if I wanted La Hai, I wouldn't have to marry you. You have no right to know what I want. Just be Zhang Xiyan. Bro, if you don't need to marry her, if you don't need to be her fiance, like, why? Like, what is going on? I'm so confused right now. Anyways, he follows up with this gem. If it happens again, I will never come to save you. 如果再有下次，我绝对不会再来救你. This is a lie. He is a liar. Yang Shi-cha cares way too much about this plan to let Shen Manning fuck it up, okay? But he needs her to believe that he will not come save her, so that when he does, she feels more deeply about it. This is a super effective manipulation tactic. Honestly, it's giving major villain energy, and I'm here for it. So everything comes to a head in episode 3 when she is forced to give a DNA sample to prove that she is the real Zhang Xiyan. Because when you're dealing with giant conglomerate companies that are worth millions of dollars, you can't just walk in the door and say, yeah, of course I'm the heiress. No, they need to prove that shit. It honestly provides us with some of the best scenes in this drama. Yang Shi-cha is at his safe house, which is literally just his house, with his friends, Fan Shan and Yuan Shuai. They are trying to gather information on the kidnapping and subsequent car accident. So they are talking about two separate attackers, the person who kidnapped Shen Manning and the person who hit their car. They are different people. Through this, we are starting to understand that this does not seem like an accident. I mean, obviously a kidnapping, you don't just accidentally kidnap someone, but now they're suspicious of the car accident. Was it really just an accident, or was she targeted? We've got more questions. It's only episode 3, of course. We've got more questions. Meanwhile, back at the hospital, Chen Manning, She is crashing the fuck out, guys. Yashin-cha is not answering his phone. She is having one of the most intense internalized panic attacks. But then what happens? What happens? Yes, Yashin-cha comes blasting through the door. Catches her up, makes an excuse of her having a phobia of needles, and whisks her away. We are seeing this play out. He says he'll never come and save her. He doesn't answer the phone. That is kind of accidental because they were busy and he just wasn't paying attention to his phone, but it reinforces to her in the moment what he said, that he will never come save her. So when he does come save her, the relief on this woman's face, it is palpable. It is effective. So Yashin-cha creates a plot to intercept the blood samples. The cart gets knocked over just as these two enter the elevator. The vial with her blood rolls to their feet and the elevator door closes. You're like, what is going on? This is so unrealistic. Remember, we left our suspension of disbelief at the fucking door. So now they are on an extreme time limit. Yashin-cha rolls up his sleeve, pulls off his tie, using it as a tourniquet, and mixes his blood in the tube with hers so that it won't test properly. When the elevator reopens back to the floor, Yashin-cha and Shemaning are gone. Only the vial of blood remains. This gives us a rare opportunity to see how Yashin-cha handles high-stress situations. He is, one, not surprised. He keeps calm. His composure never breaks, even after he reinforces that she needs to get her emotions in check and warns her that this is just the beginning. They are going to take her blood. They are going to test her background. They are going to dig deep into her to make sure that she is actually the heiress because, again, chairman, CEO, multi-million-dollar company, they're not just going to hand it over. What is this, the 1930s? And this is where she finally breaks. What if I can't? She says. What if I can't become Zhuang Xinyan? Which obviously triggers our boy here, but not surprising to me, the viewer. Shen Maning has been coerced here. From her perspective, there is only a net loss if she continues and is found out as a fraud. Yashin-cha still hasn't explained anything. She has no reason to help him willingly at this point. So she begs him to let her go. She'll repay him somehow for her life, for her eyes, Zhuang corneas. She tells him to take them back. Our poor girl is fucking stressed out of her mind. She would literally rather be blind. Obviously, so triggered, okay? He's like, take them back? Like, tell me how to take them back. Can you bring her back to life? Or will you die in her place? And for the first time, we see Yashin-chan's mask crack. The tears fall from his eyes. Zhuang Xinyan's death has deeply affected him. And when he realizes his mask is breaking in front of her, he leaves, he jets, because he's now broken an unspoken rule, which is you must never let anyone see your vulnerability. We didn't know it was a rule, but it's pretty obvious based on his reaction when he realizes he's crying in front of her. It's very visibly uncomfortable and is like shit. He drives off and comes back with her passport, reinforcing my theory that he has taken her hostage. She is not here of her own free will and therefore has no stakes in any outcome. He throws her passport onto the bench beside her and tells her to leave. From the second she leaves, she is no longer Zhuang Xinyan. Whatever happens next has nothing to do with her. Don't come back, he says, or I'll be the first one to kill you. On the surface of his actions, they really seem to stem from anger. He's angry at her for giving up, for not wanting to help with the plan, for leaving, etc. But I don't think he's actually angry here. In fact, I don't think he's ever really angry. I think it's at this moment we see Yang Xincha is driven by grief and sorrow. Yes, there is an anguish that he is quietly suffering from. And honestly, I think it's incredibly telling that it comes out in front of Shen Manning because in a lot of ways, despite her fear, when she talks back and asks questions, she reminds him that she is a person and not a tool. She is human and he is also human, and humans have emotions and feelings, and her breakdown triggers his humanity. Not that it lasts long, because Yang Xincha doesn't just have a plan A. No, this man also has a plan B. And once Shen Manning leaves, it goes into full effect. This leads us into episode 4, which is a turning point in the story. As Shen Manning is packing her suitcase, she finds a pin that Zhuang Xinyan stuck in her pocket in her final moments. I will insert a screenshot of the pin here that I took right here somewhere. So this triggers the memory of Zhuang Xinyan's final words. You must go back to the house of Zhuang and find Yang Xincha. So then, from her room, Shen Manning overhears a conversation between Jakai, who is, new player, Zhuang Jakai, whose pinyin tones I also do not know, and I did not care to go through and listen to how people said his name. So she overhears Jakai talking to his lackey, who I now know is Dayang. This is his right-hand man. They are a team. Shen Manning hears them discussing going to the testing center where they have the DNA samples. And obviously, Shen Manning remembers that Yang Xincha said he would intercept the DNA samples at the testing center and tries to call him, but it goes straight to voicemail because his phone is turned off, because plan B. They're doing sneaky shit over there. You don't want your phone going off. So now you're asking yourself, what is going on? She literally begged him in tears to leave. This is her chance. Girl, what are you doing? Yang Xincha coerced you here. Run away from this red flag of a man. So instead she tries calling Fasha, but his phone is also powered off. So from what she knows, they always have their phones on. She can't always contact them, but they never turn their phone off. I mean, what does she know? It's been like a month, if that. They have not been there long. Anyways, she's freaking out now because this is unlike them to have their phones turned off. So now she's worried. Why? Because she's a good person. She has a conscience. And obviously they're talking shit. You can't trust them. They could hurt them. And even though they don't seem like good people right now, it doesn't matter to her, okay? Because she is a good person. So we jump to Yang Xincha and Yuan Shuai, who are at the hospital. They are moving Waigong for what we can only assume has something to do with the implementation of Plan B. I don't know. Again, he doesn't tell us shit, okay? I have no idea what's going on. So Jakai and Dayang show up. Things are tense. These two about to get caught. We're freaking out. Then our unspoken true heroine of the story rolls up in this red sports car. It is none other than Shen Manning as Zhuang Xinyan.
Get in, loser. We're going shopping.
and she intercepts Jakai and Dayong so that these two can get away with Waigong without being caught. This, my friends, is when our heroine really starts to shine. She finally confronts Yaxin Cha. He asks why she came back, if she realizes how dangerous it is. But she's having none of that, okay? She claps back. Well, what about you? Why did you come here knowing it was so dangerous? And he finally gives her an honest answer, guys. He says to destroy the house of Zhuang. Because once Zhuang Xinyan leaves, nobody can get back the company shares. They go to her. She has no children. They end there. I don't think they get dissolved, but they have no owner anymore, which means no one can become the real owner of Lahai. And since he can't replace Xingyan as the head, he will destroy it all for her instead. This triggers our girl. She wants to understand his motivations, which fair. We're in episode 4 now. Why is he so determined to do this? Who is he really? He doesn't want huge assets in Lahai if he's willing to destroy it. He doesn't covet the house of Zhuang. He doesn't do it for himself. He doesn't do it for other people. Why did he get her involved? And what is his true purpose? And here we get a second heartfelt reply from him. He says, I'm the one who loves Zhuang Xingyan most in this world. I can give up everything and destroy everything for her. I want to help her get what she deserves. If I can't, I'll destroy the house of Zhuang and Lahai. No matter what it takes, I will do it for Xingyan. And then it's Yaxin Chan's turn to clap back because all of this has nothing to do with her. She just needs to leave and go back to her overseas art university and forget everything because that's what she wanted. This is what she literally begged him for. But now Shen Maning is starting to have a stake in the game. Zhuang Xinyan gave her the brooch and asked her to find Yaxin Cha for a reason. She's seen his cracks and realizes his carefully crafted persona has vulnerabilities. She pushes back, confessing with her whole body, I want to stay and protect you. She can use her face and identity because they still fear Zhuang Xinyan, and he can't destroy everything because it's the painstaking hard work of Xinyan and her parents. Yaxin Cha is actually quite moved by her very ardent confession. Here, right here, is what his face looks like. It is quite an emotional face. He tells her why they moved Waigong and what the plan is. This is the first time he trusts her with information. So Shen Maning expresses disbelief that Waigong's closest relatives would hurt him. And here we get one final caution. I say a final caution as if that's the last time he warns her about shit. We get a caution from Yaxin Cha, which also gives us insight into his character and his carefully crafted persona. He says, there is no such thing as close or love in this world. Family ties, friendship, love, everyone is a crocodile in a deep pool and they'll do anything for huge profits. And if a person doesn't turn themselves into a heartless crocodile, they'll get torn apart, shredded. So here we again see how Shen Maning is able to pull out Yaxin Chan's humanity, and we get his first heartfelt statement.
我会帮你的.
I'll help you. This is a complete 180 from previously when he was coercive and manipulative in his tactics. Now he's opening up to a genuine partnership. We are seeing more cracks forming in his facade when he's with her. Her raw emotion and honesty affects him, and here he makes her a promise. in 1 year, he'll send her back safely to her world. She's not his prisoner anymore. Now she's here willingly, and they are a team. All right, we are starting to see the connections. So we have grandfather up here, we have cousin here, we have this is her parents. We're building the connections as we go along. So we arrive to episodes 5 and 6. Now, because Shenmaning has stakes in the game, she goes all in. She fully embraces the power she holds as Zhuang Xingyan and fights back accordingly. During one particular confrontation between Jia Kai and Shenmaning, she says, "Before you touch me, you better think whether you have the right to touch me."
在你碰我之前，你最好好好想清楚。你有没有资格碰我？
So now we're over here fucking finger snapping like, yes, queen. Now, if she encounters trouble, Yan Xingchang isn't there to save her. He is there to protect her. Note the difference there, okay? So he suggests that he move into her room. First, to protect and ensure her safety, because now as the heiress, people are going to be out to get her, I guess. It's dangerous out here being an heiress when you're in a Chinese drama, okay? First, for safety, to protect her because she is the sole heir to La Haixin, and she'll also need to be taught the workings of the company and gain knowledge before the shareholder meeting that is in a week's time. Honestly, the best part of this is we start to see a new side of Yan Xingcha. We get to see his cheeky side. So when he gets pushed back because there's only one bed in her room, obviously, he suggests she can sleep on the sofa, she can sleep in the bathtub, in the dressing room, or even on the carpet. And she's like, what? Like, absolute disbelief. You want me to sleep on the carpet?
浴缸、更衣室或者地毯。
你让我睡地毯？
And he leans in and is like, well, otherwise, do you want to sleep with me? What? Bro? Absolutely no one is suggesting that, okay? But he sees how awkward she gets, and now he's teasing her. So he's like, why not? We're engaged anyway. And then we get a little bit of comic relief because Fa Xia and Yuan Shui walk in on this interaction, and Fa Xia takes it upon himself to give her some advice. First, don't let the sun go down on an argument as a couple. He tells her to be tough on their boss and mentions that he never complains about pain. You can make your own conclusions about what he meant by that comment, okay? I have thoughts. They are not appropriate for YouTube. Yuan Shui follows up with a thumbs up. It's actually pretty funny. You get an eye roll from him, which again is very unlike him. You can kind of see they're now teasing him, and he's just like, oh my God, guys, for real, like, get the fuck out. You're seeing now a different side of him and a different side of how he is with his friends when they're actually friends, like acting like friends. Fa Xia drags off Yuan Shui. Yan Xingcha remains in the room. So he is now hanging up his suit jackets. He is undoing some of his top buttons, pulling out his neck scarf. He's getting comfortable, right? This is his room now. They're sharing it. He's obviously not going to sleep in the bed. He's going to sleep on the sofa. Obviously, when you're in your bedroom, you're not tip-top form. You're getting comfy. So she is getting a little awkward. Visibly embarrassed is how I would describe it.
也不会让你有任何差错。
We all know what she is thinking right now. Be so fucking for real. He again reassures her that he'll help her and he won't let anything go wrong. Even though his mannerisms and actions still keep a level of distance between them, it's still reinforcing that the dynamics of their relationship have changed. It's further reinforced by his actions when he helps her get ready in the morning. He picks out and puts on her shoes for her. He helps do her hair. He chooses the perfect lip shade. At the board meeting, he takes off her jacket and pulls out her chair. He is there as her support now. She doesn't waver when people start whispering. She gives a bomb-ass speech, let's be real, full of confidence, and walks out at the end of the meeting with her head held high. The true heroine of the story. She is the hero right now. When we get to the CEO office, she finally can take a breath and asks for reassurance. Did I do well? And Yashin-chan, who is never quick to drop his facade, relents ever so slightly and gives her a well done. Then it's immediately back to business, of course. Got to solve the current crisis to appease the shareholders. This will also reinforce Zhang Xingyan's, i.e. Manning's, capabilities to run the company effectively. And like I said, from this point on, Manning doesn't half-ass things, okay? When she is in, she is all the way in and takes everything very seriously. So when they need to find the CFO who is trying to flee the country, she literally chases after him in the streets and she fucking catches him, guys. No joke. I can't believe there are people out here who are hating on this absolute queen, okay? She doesn't get the information they need, but she is our heroine. She is not out here committing violent acts. That is what our resident anti-hero is for, yes. If this was charging at you, what could you do but beg for your fucking life, okay? Because nothing makes people talk like suspending them over the side of a building with just a tie, okay? Is it legal? Probably not. Is it effective? Abso-fucking-lutely. This man knows how to get information out. So 2 things happen next. First, because Manning is very observant, she realizes Yashin-chan injured himself. She tries to help, but as usual, he resists. When Manning scolds him a bit for not taking care of his sprained wrist, he states he has hundreds of such injuries on his body and she shouldn't waste her time. There are more important things that need to be done. So we are starting to see a pattern in his actions, in his mannerisms, and the things that he says that is telling us, the viewer, this boy first has trust issues and he also neglects himself. Second, she actively participates in being helpful in her own way. So, for example, when going through the financial statements, she goes through how she sorted and organized everything to make reading through the information more efficient. Lists what page numbers he can find what information on, points out page numbers where he should pay specific attention to things. Yashin-chan is realizing the effort she is putting into this, and because of that, he again gives into her. Are you starting to see a pattern here? So every time Manning shows her earnestness, her authenticity, and her character as a trustful and reliable person, it triggers Yashin-chan's humanity. Despite his visible discomfort at letting someone take care of him, he lets her take care of his sprained wrist. So this scene also gives us more insight into his character because we see how much he's been neglected and how conditioned he is to do everything on his own. You see how these seemingly small actions deeply affect him. Then we see how Manning, being an outsider, is actually kind of useful. At the end, she goes full CEO, bossing everyone around, telling them what to do, and is actually successful at solving the company's current debt crisis. When asked, she says she just has a good memory and then brags a little, which honestly, after what just happened, totally deserved. Like, fucking brag, girl. You deserve it. And basically explains her process. And his facade slips again. He's visibly impressed by her now. He actually smiles for like the first time ever. It's a BFD, guys. Okay, so anyways, now he's realizing how much she's affecting him and he gets freaked out a little, let's be real. Obviously, our damaged boy has trust issues, remember? So now, because of how their relationship is changing, we start to see Manning playful side when they are working on the garden in the gazebo. I did take a picture of this. Hang on a second. Sorry if that's a little crooked. I don't know how well you can even see that. I need to get another light. Okay, I'm losing my daylight here. only have so many lights and they are not all super great. I hope I'm lit up enough. I do not know. I have 2 cheap ring lights, guys, okay? I have one over there that is shining at me but doesn't have a long range, and I have this one that's like fucking blinding. Anyways, moving on. Back to what I was saying about their relationship changing, and we are starting to see Shemaning's playful side when they are working in the garden gazebo. This one right here. If you're wondering why some pictures are in black and white and some are in color, it's because I don't actually have a color printer. I literally had to print these photos on my photo printer on photo paper. These are real photographs of the actors, okay? And then all of the people who weren't as super important, obviously I didn't want to waste the expensive photo paper and ink on them, so I just printed them in black and white. In the garden gazebo, everyone is helping. By everyone, I mean Shemaning, Fasha, and Yuan Shuai. These are the people who are helping in the garden. Everyone except Yaxin Cha. So she bugs him a bit about it. She kind of teases him because he's very quiet, and we don't actually realize until he has a small outburst that there is clearly some trauma there.
我说了，这个花房种不出花来。
This garden gazebo, we don't really know what happened, but like he's having some feelings, guys, and he doesn't know how to deal with feelings. He tells her that what they're doing basically is pointless. And she's like, well, how do you know the flowers won't grow? Like, you didn't even try. How can you know they won't grow if you don't try, right? And he just snaps at her basically and is like, I just know.
我就是知道。
And then we get this very like poignant line from Shemanning, which is, what I know is that as long as you work hard, you'll be rewarded.
Editing Allie here. I just wanted to quickly pop in and comment on how this line from Shemanning really highlights a strong character trait that comes up throughout the rest of the series, where in times of hopelessness or when things aren't going well, she very much has this steadfast determination about her. I just wanted to add that as like a little character insight we get through the dialogue.
And then she very cheekily gets dirt on his face and she's having a good laugh about it. And obviously Tasha and Yuan Shuai are like, what? Because also, guys, he's like single-minded. He's the plan. This photo I chose for a reason. This is his serious expression. This is what he has all the time. They are like, who is this man? So he kind of retaliates. He goes a little tsundere on us, and there's, still some tension underneath, which is why I think being in the garden and seeing them planting the flowers kind of triggered him, triggering his trauma. This man has trauma. I think it triggers him more than he realizes.
It's me again, editing Allie here. I wanted to add how this scene really highlights how their relationship is changing over time, especially since she came back willingly, and specifically just highlighting the difference of when she was there against her will, when she had been coerced there. First of all, she was very afraid of him and was always afraid of stepping out of line and doing the wrong thing, and he was a lot more aggressive towards her, whereas here, even though he had previously snapped at her, her response is not to cower away. Her response is to playfully put dirt on his face. So there is a very large dynamic shift in their relationship and how comfortable she feels with him and the level of what she thinks she can get away with. Because before, this would have never happened. She would have been way too scared and way too terrified. But now she's starting to feel more comfortable around him and is able to show that more playful side. And she's not afraid of him getting angry at her.
So just as their relationship is starting to improve, right? We're seeing his playfulness. We're seeing her playfulness. There's some tension there now. We meet our first character antagonist, Tanglin. She owns a jewelry company. Basically, her brother owns the competing jewelry company to unhinged, and she has her own like little tiny offshoot company. Our first character antagonist. Yay! So Tanglin basically eyes Yaxin Cha like a tiger who just found her next meal. At the same time, we are presented with the next crisis at Lahai as their rival, who I can put his name. I can put him up. I didn't actually find his name, and I didn't want to troll through the episode trying to look for his name. So he's just Tanglin's brother, okay? He's there more of a support role, which is why he's in black and white. They own the rival company to unhinged, and they go to make a patent and copyright claim against them in an effort to blacklist them from the industry. I mean, long story short, we see again how Manning, her unconventional way of looking at things, and also her experience helps solve the problem. So basically, the jewelry is already at the exhibit. She straight up just tells them, like, then go get it back. He has industry knowledge. Obviously, he's the one helping her. He's the one that's planned everything. He knows the inner workings of the company. Like, what do you mean just go get it back? Do you even know how long it would take to redesign an entire exhibit? And for her, she's like, well, it's better than leaving our fate to others. And then she ties this to why Yaxin Cha dragged her back there, because he didn't want to leave his fate to others, right? He wanted to take control. He wanted to be the one in charge. She's like, we need to do the same thing here. We got to take charge. Okay. Let's not leave our fate to others. Let's just go get the jewelry back and we'll redesign everything. So she basically shows this unwavering determination and also belief that they can do it. And what does our boy do? What does he fucking do? He gives in to her. We see the pattern, right? He says, okay, find me the most trustworthy designer in the company. Let's redesign it. Because what happens every time she shows her trustworthy character, a little bit of his humanity comes back. And this time you actually see hope. He believes because she believes.
守住蓝海。
好。
He fucking trusts her, bro. He trusts her. But we're getting into the story now. So the stakes must be raised. Enter the most trusted designer, Li Mufa, Zhuang Xinyan's childhood best friend. And what does art student Shen Manning do? Yeah. She holds the pencil like an artist and starts making adjustments to the designs. And now Li Mufa, who did meet Shen Manning once at her arts university back in episode 1, is like, hold up. Now, I mean, he's probably the least worrisome character to be suspicious, but he is suspicious now because Zhuang Xinyan is not an artist, but Shen Manning is. So it is at this moment when they are working on the redesigns that a bunch of reporters show up at the company to ask about the copyright claim. Because again, this man wants to blacklist their company from the industry. It is obviously shady business behavior, but it is what it is. So obviously it's been leaked to the media to make them look bad. Since Li Mufan is now the lead designer of the project, he offers to go down and talk to the reporters, leaving Shen Manning in the office alone for the first time since Yaxin Cha said she needed 24-hour protection. I know you know where this is going. And you're right. Yes, someone tries to kill Shen Manning, but not literally, because that would be stupid. Instead, they lock her in the CEO office and light something in the ventilation system. death by smoke inhalation. So the fire alarm goes off. Everyone is running out and they're like, but what about Zhuang Xiyan? And who walks in at that moment? You guessed it, Mr. Yan, who immediately goes into action mode. So he's like, Fasha, do your thing. Yuan Shuai, come with me. He is fucking running up the stairs, like frantically trying to call Shen Maning on the phone. She grabs her phone. She picks it up. She's barely conscious. All she manages to get out is, and then she passes out. So he yells her real name, but not just Shen Maning. He calls Manya. Not only does he drop her last name, okay, if you know anything about Asia, you say people's last name, okay? That's how you call people. He drops her last name, which he did in episode 4, call her Manya, when she had that super ardent confession that deeply affected him. But he still used her last name, Shen. He still said Shen Manya. Here, he drops her last name. It is just Manya. Can be added to the end of a name to denote closeness, familiarity, or affection. So this is a small but significant insight into how he feels about her now. Because before, when she was in distress, he never lost his composure. He always stayed calm. But now she's in distress. He is not composed. He is panicked. And his real worry and affection slips out because of it. So this is also the first real life or death situation they face since coming back. Obviously, he gets to her. It's a little it's completely unrealistic. Okay, I'm going to be perfectly honest. She inhales all the smoke. He gives her CPR. I don't know why. I'm pretty sure she didn't stop breathing, but either way, they go back home. Wai Kong lays into everyone for dropping the ball so bad. He tells Yang Xin-cha somewhat forcefully to officially get engaged so that everyone will finally recognize them as the new owners of La Haishin. This brings us to our next turning point in the story. Shen Maning agrees with Wai Kong and tells Yang Xin-cha they should go through with the engagement. Here, she actually gets really vulnerable and says she knows she's not the real Zhuang Xiyan because he was engaged to her and then she died and now he's just pretend engaged to her. So she's like, I know I'm not your real fiance. But since coming back, she doesn't have anyone else to rely on. And when she was in the office, basically dying, he was the only one. And she quite emotionally asks if he can come to her and be with her. Yang Xin-cha doesn't say no, but he does ask some very important questions. Like, first, do you know what it means to get engaged with me? And again, he gives her a warning, like he always does. If you fall in, you might never get out. He follows up with some more pretty valid questions, in my opinion, like, do you know who I am? Do you know why I came back? He asks her, quite frankly, if everything isn't ready, do you still want to get engaged with me? And at first, it seems a bit harsh, especially after she was so vulnerable and open with him. But in my eyes, this is a courtesy to her. He wants to make sure she's really thought it through so she can make a truly informed decision. Long story short, they agree to get engaged, and he promises to tell her everything about himself. Big steps to the man who doesn't trust anyone. Next, we are back dealing with the company again because Shen Maning as Zhuang Xiyan takes fucking names. Sure, they resolved the copyright issue, but someone within the company took a bribe to copy those designs. So we get some pretty great power moves in this scene. This is the scene where she's wearing this outfit. And the costume designers, or whatever they're called, they were working in this scene. She looks fucking cute. She is bomb. She really seems like the CEO of the company in this scene. I love it. It's total queen energy. Anyways, back to why. Say it with me. Because Shen Maning is an absolute fucking queen.
你曾经是公司的代总裁，也是公司的小副总，但是如今恐怕需要你挪挪位置。
She promotes Li Mufang to design director. She demotes Jakai from vice president to director of logistics. And she exposes the person who took the bribe. Look at this fucking attitude.
知道了，唐总。
Does this look like someone you want to fuck around with? Like, no. She literally just submitted evidence that could put someone in jail for 30 years, and she's out here looking bored as hell. Power move. So next we jump to the engagement ceremony between these two. Episode 9, and things really start to heat up here with Tanglin. Enter Meina. Apologies because I lost the other printed childhood best friend bag. It fell down there and it is gone. So I just quickly hand wrote a new one. As you can see, we have more connections. So Zhuang Xian's childhood best friend, Li Mufan, and we have Meina, Shen Maning's childhood best friend, affectionately known as Nana, who is a worker at the design department of La Hai. She works with Lim Mufan. A small world. I know it is always a small world in these dramas. Meina is at the engagement ceremony as well. She drops her phone on the ground, and who is walking by? It is none other than Tanglin, who sees Meina's background, which is a picture, of course, of Meina and Shen Maning, her best friend. You know, alarm bells are starting to go off.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
But it gets worse. Yeah, it gets worse. Meina hits the ceremony and absolutely loses her shit when she sees Shen Maning on the altar. So our antagonist has basically been handed a literal canister of fuel for the fire she's wanted to desperately set for the last 2 episodes. And then, of course, this obviously shocks Shen Maning, who is seeing Meina for the first time as Zhuang Xian. We see Yang Xincha immediately slip back into his super composed facade. He's keeping it cool. He asks her to trust him. But it's clear that there is still a barrier here between them. At the end of the day, she is still Shen Maning, and when she's confronted by the people from her real life, she is understandably upset and also shook. So we see a distance created between them here. Yang Xincha has to stay focused on his plan, and he needs Shen Maning to not blow their cover. So because she gets emotional about stuff, and that is not a criticism, please do not think that is. It's a very valid reaction. But to quote our male lead, you need to remember where you are, which quite frankly is a fucking lion's den. So in this instance, I really can't disagree with him. She is now here voluntarily, freak out, have a good cry, fine, but girl, do it behind closed doors like the rest of us, okay? Tanglin has now made it her life's goal to expose Shen Maning as a fraud. So first she tries to catch her off guard by making her sign a document as if Yang Xincha is an amateur, okay? Bitch, please. Do you know how many times he made her write Zhuang Xian's signature? Go off. But that is not all, okay? Because she fixes a meeting that Meina shows up to. Now, poor Manning is having an internal panic attack, obviously. And Yashin-chan now knows what's going on. He's like, oh, I see what you're trying to do here. You're trying to expose flaws in my carefully crafted plan. Fuck off. It's not going to happen. I've been working way too hard for this plan, okay? Anyways, so they managed to get through the meeting. Okay. Hello, welcome back. I had to pause for dinner, and as you can see, I tried to fill in some blanks. I have moved La Haishin down here because obviously it is the painstaking work of the parents. They are dead, so I put X's through them now. And I added, he's just Tang Lin's brother, I guess. By a goddamn miracle of God, they get through the collaboration meeting between Tang Lin, Mei Na, Li Mufan, and Shen Manning and Yashin-chan. And now Tang Lin wants to see the vault. So they are headed to the vault. Zhang Xinyan has the code. Obviously, she's not around. Yashin-chan does not have the code. So much stuff comes together here in this scene, okay? You don't even know. But I will tell you. So Shen Manning has 3 chances within 90 seconds to input the code into the vault. Fan Xiang, who is our hacker, remember, is doing his goddamn motherfucking best, okay? But he is not motherfucking Jesus Christ, okay? So even hackers have limits when the plot calls for it. And besides, the writers have set up a few things in Shen Manning's character. First, she has a really good memory. She's always been able to remember things more clearly and for longer than her peers. Second, she is good at critical thinking. She has solved the debt crisis and the copyright claim. She is good at organizing data systematically and coming up with solutions to problems. And remember, Shen Manning also met Zhang Xinyan and was asked to make a phone call. Zhang Xinyan gave Shen Manning her phone passcode, which happened to be a very significant date, the date of her parents' accident. November 21st, I believe. 1121. A date Shen Manning remembers because her memory is extremely good and Yashin-chan is very thorough. And the nail in the coffin, the door doesn't use a fingerprint scan. It uses that's right, a cornea scan. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, but Allie, those biometric identifiers scan a person's iris, not a cornea. And I will say it is not common, but the unique 3D shape of a person's cornea is being actively researched for biometric identification. And this is fiction, okay? So the fact that it's feasible and remembering we left our suspension of disbelief at the door, I'm willing to give this to them. I mean, it is China after all. And if anyone's going to figure that shit out first, it's going to be them. Let's be so for real. And also, come on. This is a fairly insignificant part of episode 1 coming back in a payoff 10 episodes later. They built this up so well. And because Shen Manning is my heroine queen and Tang Lin has been nothing but a man-stealing menace, I'm like, take that, you fucking cunt. I'm sorry, but honestly, it's so fucking satisfying to see her face when Shen Manning tells her it's an eye scanner. Absolutely priceless. So another crisis averted. Yay. Except now, Yashin-chan is legitimately impressed. When she finally gets back to the office, he doesn't say anything. He just picks her up, puts her on the desk, and kisses her. It really takes I'm so happy I could kiss you to a whole new level. It's honestly such a satisfying payoff to all of their tension over the past couple episodes. We do get another view into how their relationship has shifted after. When Shemaning brings up her survivor's guilt, remember at the beginning, Yang Xinchang leaned into it to manipulate her, and here he tells her it's not her fault. The kidnapping mishap happened because they look so much alike. No one can predict the survivability of a car crash, and he's the one who made the decision to give her the cornea transplant. And he again calls her Mania, this time not in a panic. He says, Xinyan left, but you must live well. And now at this point, I feel like their relationship is becoming more unbalanced. So Shemaning is starting to fall in love with Yang Xinchang. But Yang Xinchang is still keeping a cautious distance between him and Shemaning. So, for example, she comments that they'll be together forever, and he pauses. His whole body just goes into stop. Because remember, he said he would return her after a year, like safely to her world. So we're kind of starting to teeter on a dangerous ledge here. Shemaning is important, of course, but the plan still feels more important within the larger picture. We also are learning more about Xinchang's trauma. So in one of the earlier episodes, he has a nightmare where when Maning went to try and wake him up, he attacks her in his disoriented state because he doesn't realize what's going on. He is not in real life. He is still in his dream, even though he's awake. And so he is so shaken by that interaction. He very forcefully tells her, never come near me when I'm sleeping. And you're like, weird, but okay, maybe he has nightmares. But this second time makes it seem more like a symptom of actual PTSD. These are very vivid night terrors of him being thrown into a large body of water. Except this time, Maning coaxes him awake. So he still seems quite shaken, but you can see how she's starting to become a comfort to him now, right? In the dream, he follows her voice out of it and he doesn't attack her. He just looks very visibly upset. Also, Tangnin isn't satisfied. Oh, no. If anything, she's even more suspicious now. She is determined to get Yang Xinchang no matter what it takes. So instead of backing off, she steps up her game. She digs deeper. She sets up a trap for Shemaning's dad and Meina's mom to be at the company. And obviously it goes as you'd expect, except actually Wai Gong is the one who intercepts this confrontation this time and comes to her rescue as he's visiting the company. Meanwhile, Li Mufang seems to be more and more suspicious of both Shemaning and Yang Xinchang, both of their identities. He's really starting to be like, what is going on? And it culminates in Li Mufang confronting Yang Xinchang directly. And it is in episode 11 we get our first major plot twist. Yang Xinchang is actually Yang Yi, Zhang Xinyan's brother, who supposedly died in the car accident with their parents 17 years ago. And this scene, honestly, is so well acted. I'm inserting a clip here.
Yan Yi.
Look at the smile, the glasses push, the body language coupled with the expression like, I am sorry, bro, but this is the end. Say your last prayer. Just so well done. And he ends up telling Li Mufan a bunch of truth bombs here, like how Zhang Xingyan was murdered by the same people who murdered his parents. And the reason he has been hiding his identity is because no one is safe until the mastermind behind everything is caught, including Li Mufan, and especially himself. But Li Mufan is a righteous character and wants to expose the truth. But obviously, that's not part of the plan. So we get our anti-hero back here. Yang Xinchang knocks him out and locks him up. Like, really, what did we expect? You don't mess with the plan, bro. Like, rule number 1. And again, we see Yang Xinchang take a step back from Shen Manning. It's hard because his actions say he likes her. The way he looks at her, even the way he says manya, is literally dripping with affection. But something always inevitably reminds him of how dangerous their situation is. He can't give her what she wants because of it, so he pushes her back to an arm's length. You know, he plays dumb when she's fishing for affection. Episode 12, Tang Lin comes back with a vengeance. She brings Zhang Xingyan's favorite dessert, mango and rice. Mango that Shen Manning is allergic to. Yes. And you're like, oh no, the game's up. This is it. She's finally caught. Wrong again. She eats the mango, guys. She eats the whole fucking plate of mango. And Yang Xinchen, who is obviously highly suspicious of Tang Lin now, at this point is just watching Manning intensely trying to figure out what's going on. So she mows down the mango and then immediately excuses herself, citing indigestion from eating too fast and too much. She makes it to the stop of the stairwell before she falls over. She's covered in hives at this point. Yang Xinchen obviously makes an excuse to fucking jet and is basically freaking out. She's like, I'm allergic to mangoes.
Anya.
This is the worst scene for me, okay? She needs a fucking EpiPen, bro. So he forces her to throw up all the mango, which, I mean, I guess fine, but I'm pretty sure she at the very least needs some Benadryl, right? Like, I don't know if she ever gets it. He throws her in the shower and then we skip ahead to after. You know, and in my brain, I want to think the guy who can shove a fucking needle in his arm and take his own blood knows he needs to give someone going into anaphylaxis an EpiPen. But I also know the plot is kind of unhinged and the writers just might have glossed over that part. She gets changed out of her clothes and into pajamas at some point. So I'd like to tell myself the EpiPen happened off screen too. Anyways, we get more conflicted emotions from our male lead here. Manning in distress means a panicked Xingchang.
Manya.
A panicked Xingchang means the facade slips. She asks him not to go. Like, she literally pulls him onto the bed in her half-dazed state. Maybe it was the Benadryl. You know, maybe that made her drowsy. That's what I'll keep telling myself. Anyways, she wakes up the next morning alive. He asks her why she did it. Like, why did she eat the mango knowing that it was so dangerous? And she said she did it for him. Girl is really out here ready to die for this man. She doesn't even know what the plan is, but she's like, I know you've been waiting for the right time to tell me. And they discuss the Tang Lin shit. Shen Manning basically tells Yang Xinchang to throw her under the bus if things go south. I feel like all of it really affects him because he asks her if she even understands what she's saying. She's like, look, we've worked way too hard for both of us to go down. If they find the evidence that I'm not Zhang Xingyan, you should at least stay hidden so all of our effort doesn't go to waste. She's like, trust me. I can handle it. we've hit the next role reversal. Or the first, is this? So like he's so speechless at this point, he can't even emote. She hugs him. He's like expressionless. He actually hugs her back. And he says, Thursday afternoon, let's go to the beach to fly kites and have a picnic. I'll tell you all my secrets. Except, of course, none of that happens. In an effort to save Shemaning from Tanglin's plan to expose and defame her, Yang Xinchang moves up his plan and reveals his true identity to the world, that he is Yang Yi. It needed to happen, but I still hate it. Shemaning also gets into another accident due to Tanglin, but Xinchang saves her. So this is where some viewers lost their mind a bit, because let me explain. Zhang Xinyan is Yang Xinchang's sister, who looks exactly like Shemaning. It seriously divided people into two groups. Those who just couldn't get past the fact that he was dating someone who looked like his sister, and the other camp who argued he hadn't seen his sister since they were like 8, and so he had no connection to her physical appearance as an adult, which, fair. Like, the first time he sees Zhang Xinyan as an adult was in the fucking morgue to identify her body. Do you know what I'm saying? Dead bodies don't necessarily look the same, and she was also in an accident. He goes to identify her body. She's not even the same person, okay? So, like, anyway, so the person he actually met and interacted with is Shemaning and not Zhang Xinyan. This also stems from my being able to separate these kinds of things very easily. So, like, for example, I used to work with my mom, and at work I would call her by her first name, and people would always ask me if it was weird, and I was like, no, like, why would it be weird? But people thought it was weird. Like, what do you mean you can't just separate in your brain, like, from 8 to 4, Monday, Friday, I call her this, and then when we're not at work, then she's mom. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So I can separate it. The only memories Yang Xinchang has of Zhang Xinyan is from under the age of 10. I am sorry, but seeing one photo after 17 years isn't going to hold any meaning for me. The only person he's actually known with that face is Shemaning. So that's where I stand on that, I guess. And this brings us to the halfway point of the story. Yeah, all of that was only half the fucking story, guys. I know. And shit just gets crazier from here. So buckle the fuck up for part 2. Thank you for joining me on this journey, and I will see you all in part 2. Bye.